Most of you are too young to remember that term Muzak or elevator music. Some of you are. Shopping mall. Muzak to buy clothes by. Cords slithering from the ceiling. The sound of credit cards being squeezed beyond the range of oral perception. A music of dreams and nightmares deferred. Shopping. You don't need to applaud after each one, even if you think it's worth it. But this one is about music, and it's about free improvisation music. It's called Playing the Shadows. And it probably doesn't make sense, but then some people would say neither does that sort of music. Playing the shadows, pulling apart the form and tearing the fabric of traditional expectation. This is a lyric of bells, a haunting of echoes and scales with tonal disaffection. The unscripted fugue of intentions descending through chaos into a mantra of visceral sound, a nightmare of art. The unclassified music our parents did not think to warn us about. That's one sort of poem. When you look at some of the poems that many of the famous and classic poets have written, you'll find that some of the more memorable ones are love poems. This poem is sort of looking back at love poems because I suppose I'm getting on past that age when that sort of first urge of love and all the rest of it goes. This is called A Longer Time Ago. This already feels like a long time ago, rain beating on the library steps. Lost school days come back to us with a swagger of illicit cigarettes, shoulders hunched against the wind. From careful middle age, we crave a furtive youthfulness, huddled together for shelter from the rain. One day, when we have journeyed separate ways, this will seem an even longer time ago. Sad. I'm going to read a few poems now based on the sea or the coast. And the first one of these is a traditional form called Walking on the Estuary Hill. And you imagine walking home from the pub at night over the hills near the coast. The curlew and the heron call. The hissing mud and whispering wings beat eerie through the idle air until the moonlit midnight silence falls. And then the tide flows softly through the guts and sluice of estuary sands, and dark against the dreamlit sky, the trees arise from hedgerows, and the hills, alive with monstrous shapes, are menacing with soundless fear. And still, below the blundering man, the beery and uncertain head, the stubbled fields hold secrets now, and silence fills the riverbed. Of course, that's all the things. At one time I was fortunate enough to be on a Thames sailing barge, only we weren't in the Thames at this particular case. We were coming up the Bristol Channel. And the Bristol Channel has an amazing range of tides, and it was foggy. And in the Bristol Channel there are two islands, Steepholm and Flatholm. And we were coming up the Bristol Channel in this Thames sailing barge. And of course there's a lot of shipping in the Bristol Channel, some of it coming the other way. And these two islands are about a mile or so, a few miles apart, but there we were, coming up between them. fog, listening for the lighthouse drifting closer, its horn a cry of ghostly cattle lost at sea. We know what it is to be blind and afraid of what monsters may lurk beyond our ears' reach, or what it is to be small and afraid of the dark. In the morning, watching for shadows and hearing the mournful call of the island, I think of you waking at home and unaware of the ship about to cross our bows. Again, using that as a metaphor. It's all sad things sometimes poets write about, and quite often when they're quite happy about these things. So we go back to another love poem about the beach, or perhaps it's a lost love poem, you never know. Remember the scars collected, dreams discarded. A twisted shell on the beach, broken bottles, and memories of flame-rippled sunsets. You sifted the world through your hand, it fell shapeless as sand. You buried your dreams, laughing for the tide, its cold fingers probing. And after the last of daylight, you were lost in darkness, an invisible star pulsing with life. You tasted the brine-savoury night, watching the lights of distant ships. You pondered the destination of stars. Later, exploring this time as history, it seems not so very different, nor important that you remember the scars collected, dreams discarded, and the journeys we have travelled since. And I'm going to finish off with a poem which is indebted to John Masefield's poem Cargoes. You'll all be familiar with John Masefield, the former poet laureate, and his poem Cargoes. And this one was written sometime later, and it's about containerization, perhaps. Watching at the quayside such carriers of boxes said to contain cheap hacksaw blades, chop suey from Taiwan, or carcasses of lamb, or the dirty British coasters down to the gunnels with grain and tramping the North Sea roads, or the tethered hulks empty now and rusting away for the Asian breaker's yard. These cargoes of peace are lines of bitter trade. Thank you.